Costa, welcome to Timely Conversations.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
So, should we start talking about how you began your career?
Career, yeah, look, career starts with what you really like to do. And that was for me electronics, robotics, software engineering. Oh, well, it wasn't software engineering, it was just writing programs. It was in software engineering. It was electronics. That was my, the future tech. I like science fiction. So from there, I went to studying electronics and getting kits. And it's, when people say, oh, what are you passionate about? You go back to what you were doing as a kid and as I was a teenager. And that's when I was building kits and making robots and that construction. So what did you do in your spare time? So that's what I was doing. I even had back in the day, a Commodore 64. So I was playing a lot of computer games, tons. So what you're gamers, I'd be doing it 24/7, swapping games. It was just my life, right? But then I realized my grades were going really bad. So I stopped. I either had to sell the gaming machine, it was actually a computer Commodore 64, or turn the evil to good and learn how to program and then write the games. So that's when I started learning basic, so Commodore Basic. So that's how I started my engineering degree. I ended up doing an engineering degree in electronics because I really enjoyed the creative process, building something, inventing something, and making something happen at the end. So not just, oh, I learned how to do something, but what's the impact? So you create software, it has an impact. You build electronic devices, you have timers, you have all sorts of different things you can do with electronics, but there's a positive outcome at the end, right? So I did engineering first because I love the creation. But when I got into my first job in Telstra, there was not much creation. There was reading other people's documents, other people's creations, and implementing them. I found it really boring. So I changed careers. So I could see that as an engineer at Telstra, I had a very minimal impact, part of the production line. And I don't like production line. If I'm doing something again and again, that's boring. I need something new, different. Even though it's using the same framework, you're dealing with new variables. Okay, like people are a massive variable, right, in businesses. So when I went from engineering to project management, it means I could control, to some degree, control and influence someone's desired outcome, create plans, define how things are going to go, implement it, work with people, manage the process to have a desired outcome. So something at the end go, now we've got base stations that we can actually make money from, people can make phone calls, it has a positive income. So I like the creative part of engineering. I like the management part, seeing a project from beginning to end in project management. And then when I was doing my corporate career, I learned photography as a hobby, and that became a massive passion as well. Darkroom, medium format camera, doing my own processing, printing for hours, doing courses online, courses in Sydney. It was nuts, right? So I learned photography in that time. So when I finished my corporate career, I thought, what am I going to do? Start my own business. Didn't know, no idea what business was about. And still learning, of course, after almost 20 years. So I started my business in photography and doing everything and learning and really getting involved. It's not about I'm passionate, I really like it, and then you're just going to watch YouTube or watch a movie for 5 hours. You just do it, fail. When they talk about fail fast, I thought, I don't want to fail. You want to succeed. But to succeed, you've got to try things, you've got to experiment, and you're going to find ways of not doing things and ways that you can do things. So, like even when you're doing your interviews, you've got to do more and more and more, and you've got to fine tune. You can't fine tune something unless you have some data to make some changes. You have no data if you're not actually doing anything, right? So, got into my photography, then fine tune that into branding photography. Realized that people didn't, weddings, it was a pain in the backside. It took ages to, 1-2 years down the track. Families, this, that, and I wanted to work with people that needed my services, they needed an outcome, and they need it now, and I could see the application, and it had a positive impact. So we created the photographs they used on the website, they used on their marketing. It's like, here are my images, now you look professional, now you look credible, now we can move forward. Okay, great. Problem I found, as a brand photographer, is that the photographs are not enough to build a brand and to create that essence. It's a component, and it's a necessary component, but there were so many other elements, like your website's wrong, your messaging's wrong, the copy's wrong, the design's wrong, or it was not aligned, or there was mixed messages from your social media here, and you're on here, and you don't have an account, and you're saying the wrong things. It's like, this mess I didn't like, right? So as a project manager, you don't like messes, right? You need to structure your project, what are you going to do, and go, and then make changes as you go along. But you've got to keep everyone under control. So when I see other people's businesses, I'm like, well, you're a great coach. Why are you trying to spend time doing this? Oh, I was on Canva, I was on Wix trying to create the website. that's not your speciality, you don't have the design skills, now you're trying to learn, you're doing a bit of, sometimes with a little bit of information for some people is a dangerous thing, because they've got a bit of information, they go, well, now I know, now I'm an expert. No, you're not. You haven't done the years and the thousands of hours of training, right? So I could see all of that part was wrong. And I'm like, well, you can't keep complaining about it, you've got to do something about it. So then we started to build a strategy, a plan, like, okay, you're going to get your photos, great, but we need to know more about your business, about your brand, how you want to be perceived, what position you want to have in the market, who is your target, who are the people you want to connect with, because these photographs are of you, but they're not for you. They're for the connection, the interaction you want to have with your audience. Your audience, your desired audience, the right clients you want to have, they're the ones that need to connect with it, right? You can't have a naked photo of a business coach on a business coaching page and go, here's my shop. What is this? This is not an OnlyFans site. This is a business coaching, right? You've got to have the right, okay, so that's an obvious one. You wouldn't do that. But it's the nuances, what is right, what's not right. That's what you got to make sure you're looking at, so when you're building a brand. So engineering, project management, into photography, then modified that to branding photography, and then started building strategies around how to build a brand. We started building models, because as an engineer, I need to have a framework, I need to have a process. I can't just, you make it up the first time and then you fine tune it, but you don't make it up every single time. You don't reinvent the wheel. Here's the wheel, it's round. Next time when you want to cart something, oh, let's reinvent the wheel again. No, you already have that structure in place. So this model we created had 4 parts to building a brand. Now it has 7 parts. We call them the 7 branding principles. The model is the brand identity model. So you want to build an identity of yourself, of your brand, and you have to cover the 7 branding principles, and each one of those has a number of brand elements. In fact, there's 24 that we use. So, and that, even that model, right, when you say about failing fast, you try it, you modify. Even now we're modifying it. Now we're going to be adding in brand archetypes as another component into that as well. We had a little bit, we're going to add more into it. So you're always building and expanding to make sure you're keeping ahead of technology, new findings, and branding is a lot around psychology, because you're working with people, not with animals, but the human beings, which we are animals, but it's human beings. We have so many fears, aspirations, and there's so much going on in our mind that you need to understand how the mind works. And that's what you want to make your brand do in terms of connect with the right people. So yes, a bit of a journey, change from corporate career to running your own business, learning how to build a business, how to not do this. Lots of different courses along the way, through KPI programs, through brand mastery programs with Ben Angel, with James Tuckerman. You pick the right people that you can resonate with, you do their courses, you learn, and then you use that. At no point doing courses and then going, oh, I've done all these courses, what have you implemented? Nothing, but I know a lot. Well, you know more when you implement and you tweak it and you're failing and things aren't working, and you go, okay, now I get this. And then when you teach it to someone else, that's when you're really learning it, even deeper as well, because you know this much, you teach this much.
You mentioned brand archetypes. Can you elaborate on what that is?
Yeah, so there's been a number of studies done on different personalities of different types of brands, and there's 12 different brand archetypes, and there's different questionnaires you can do, and there's books you can read, whether they're 2-inch books or there's something of a summary. But the key thing is that it comes down to, what is the personality of your brand? Are you the hero? Are you the lover? Are you the innocent? There's 12 different types, and once you work out which one is your brand, and if it's a solo entrepreneur, well, you are the business, so it's you. If it's a solo entrepreneur with a few people, it's still your essence. The founders need to make sure that this business that we have of 20, 30, 50, 100, 1,000 people, what are we trying to do? So that brand archetype needs to be very clear. That's your personality, and that determines the words you use, how you use them, what social media platforms you're on, what content you present. It has a very important impact on all the interactions. So when we talk about touch points or your interactions with your audience, that's what you need to be looking at when you want to have a consistent brand. Interactions, all interactions, before, during, and after the process. Before they see you, when they come to your store or your website, or they have a call with you or a meeting, and after, while you're delivering the goods or services, and even after that's been delivered, all of those touch points matter. Right? You need to have enough so that you can bring the customers back. They buy more. They buy the higher priced items, they tell their friends, they're brand advocates, they share your content. That blossoming of the following, it all comes from making sure all your brand elements are in alignment and you're talking to the right people. So brand archetypes are important. So that's why we're bringing that into play as well. So it's important to understand your personality and everything else that goes around it to connect. When you have a relationship, in a romantic relationship, you need to resonate with that person and vice versa. And that relationship stays together when our values are aligned, we have the same goals, and we're going in the same direction. Well, think of that level of intensity with all your customers. You're not going to marry them, you're not going to be intimate with them, but they need to resonate with you, right? So yeah, it's one of the many things you need to be considering.
Which somewhat leads to your 7 branding principles, right? And including 24 brand elements.
Yeah.
And you gave me a little model, which I thought was...
That's right, you've got to have models. I mean, look, even with the model that I showed you, the brand identity model, that's one way to differentiate yourself from everyone else. So you've got a business coach, you've got an accountant, a mortgage broker. There's so many service providers, and you can say the title, and people go, oh, mortgage broker, yeah, you get me money for blah, blah, blah. And now everyone thinks we know what a mortgage broker does, because we've seen whatever our past is, that's our perception, that's our reality of what this person is doing. So now you say, okay, I'm a brand strategist, and we create unique brands doing it this way. So we use our model. Every person will do, as a mortgage broker and accountant, their process, their unique way, their special sauce, right? KFC has the 11 herbs and spices. You can buy 25 herbs and spices from the supermarket and make your own. Right? They have theirs 11 herbs and spices, and they promote it. Big Mac has a special sauce and the way they do their burgers, right? So your secret recipe, right? It doesn't have to be, it could be this is the way everyone else does it, but we're calling it this way, we're creating a visual model, and we're promoting it. This is our process. Don't say, oh yes, step 1, 2, and 3, we're going to do words. Show pictures. Pictures, an image has has 1,000 words around, right? There's a lot more that we get from it. So have a diagram, have icons in there, have words that mean something to the audience. So we have a 1, 2, 5 step process, maybe not 1, 2, but 3, 4, 5 step process, not 27, but something between 3 to 7 is a good number, because anything less than 3 is not enough, anything more than 7 is just too many, or can get complicated. And then you show them, this is the process, this is the outline. So they know I'm in safe hands, because you know what you're doing, you've done it before, it's a refined diagram. It's not like, oh yeah, we're going to do this, this, and this. You told me, but how do I know this is a process? How do I know your team knows what to do? So models are very important to show, I've thought about it, I've designed it, and you put it everywhere, and you get them trademarked as well, as many as you can, yeah.
Now I can see that you've listed number 1 as purpose.
Yeah.
Component 2 is problem.
Yeah.
Then you identify your people.
Yes.
Your product.
Yep.
The position, the persona, and then you promote. Is that normally the order that
100%.
advise clients?
See, in Promote, which is P7, is all about promotion. Promotion is about what platforms do you need to be on, what lead magnets are you going to create, and what authority content are you going to write or create. How do I know the answer to any of those, or can come up with the answer if I don't know why am I doing what I'm doing, what are my values, my vision, what problems I'm actually solving, who I'm solving them for, right? And even that is, you break that down to payers, promoters, and partners. What products and services I have to offer, how I deliver them, how I want to be positioned in the marketplace, what is my position within with our competitors, what is my brand personality, how am I going to show up, how am I going to dress, what visual content am I going to have. If all these aren't answered, how do I know what platform? Should it be on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram? Which is the one? I don't know. So we do P7 last, that's called Promote. P1 is purpose, you do that first. Past, present, and future. Where have you come from? What have you been doing? What's your personality? What's your backstory? That's your founder's story, and that helps to understand your values, what's important to you. If you're not sure what's important to you, it's like, well, what pisses you off? Well, when someone does this, or when they do this, or this, that's important to you. So either something that you really pursue, like, your non-negotiables. In a relationship, what's a non-negotiable? Oh, this, and this, because that's important to you. Whatever's significant to you is important to you. There are your values. So you go through a value exercise, not just to come up with honesty, integrity, and blah, blah, blah. Don't do the corporate 3, 4, 5 things that people come up with. Spend thousands of dollars to get a rubbish response. Come up with values that have meaning to you, and actually write 2, 3 words for the value, not just honesty. Pick a different word, or write 3, 4 words, and then a paragraph to describe what that means to you. So because otherwise, the perception of the other person is when you say, okay, our values are integrity, transparency, honesty, and sustainability. Those words mean something to me and to our team, and we'll implement it in a certain way. They mean something different to you and everyone else who's going to hear just those 4 words. No. then your perception is based on what you know about those 4 words and what they mean to you and how important they are to you. Don't let people create a perception about you or your brand without you giving them enough information to influence them, guide them in the right direction. So you say, these are my values, and these are this is my explanation. So we always with clients say, let's get your values, let's define them, and let's describe them. And then you go one step further. How do you live them? How do you implement this? How do I see this value, these values that you have? So yeah, you need to get deeper. So founder story, your values, your vision, your mission, they need to be done first. That's all P1, and all the other components are done. They build on the previous one. Yeah? And it's like building blocks. You build up. You can't have the penthouse without any foundations. No foundations, you're not going to have a penthouse.
What's your most memorable brand that you assisted when, for example, they have variations of what their purpose, core beliefs are? Do you help them? Do you sit down with your clients and help them identify the core values? Do people come to you and sort of like list too many, you think?
Oh, there's always too many. The key thing is there's too many, and they're too general, right? And they sound like everyone else. The thing is, if it sounds like everyone else, you don't differentiate yourself from everyone else. So that's why describe your value in 2 or 3 words and have a paragraph and show how you live those values. So if, for example, if you had one of your values was sustainability of our waterways, not just sustainability of waterways, sustainability of our food source, or whatever it happens to be, right, for you, right? Let's say sustainability, expand it, and then this is what it means to us, and then show how we're doing. Well, we're supporting this organisation that goes and cleans up the rivers, or this, that, and the other. Here's some photographs of us on a cleanup day. There's a value that's described, and there's some imagery, there's some detail about it. I'm like, oh, okay, you're living your value. Don't just tell me, show me, right? People like you, show me. I mean, people, you can make promises, but it's only when you deliver on the promises and go, oh, okay, you keep your word, right? So look, with customers, they're always different. They're always different. And memorable, yeah, that's a hard one.
Yeah, what's something that there was a bit of back and forth, you suggested something, they'll come back to you and they'll give you another layer to the problems, for example, or to the solutions they want to come up with.
It's usually, where I've had that scenario is with naming. Sometimes people get really attached to the name that they've created, and the first thing we'll do is like, oh, that's a nice name. I had a conveyancer who came up with a brilliant name. I'm going to call myself this. I'm like, that's a really great name. I like that name. That is so good. I think someone else may have that. That is a really good name. Let me just have a look. And the first thing I'll do is, you want to have just go straight to a Google search bar, put the name, see what comes up. If someone's website comes up, they already own the URL, and they'll have history in running the business. The next thing I want to do is go to IP Australia, right, and have a look at, has that name been registered? Has it been trademarked, right? If you want to get a trademark, you've registered the name, so it's gone through the process. Now it's registered. You've got the little R that goes on it. They own that name. You can't use that. You may buy the URLs, the .com, the .co, whatever, but you can't be using that name publicly because they have a registration, right? They have it trademarked. So you need to be doing that first. So yeah, when I went through that process with her, and she's like, oh, but I really like it and I really want it. This guy in Queensland has it. Yeah, it's already registered. Sorry, you can't have that. We have to pick something else. So it's when you're personally attached, that's when the back and forths, we have to come up with different names and which names, not just make up names, but names that a name that you're proud of, and a name that's going to resonate with your clientele as well. They're going to say, okay, I get it, right? Anything obscure, you need more marketing so people can know what is Yahoo, what is Google, what is this. Yeah, you see a lot of AI ones. What's the one I was watching yesterday? They'll come up with, I use Claude a lot, right? Claude. I don't know if Claude was AI, but when you use it, it's the promotion that's around it. So if you don't have a big budget to promote something that no one knows about, make it simple. Maybe potentially put what the outcome is or what you do in the name as well. So yeah, when people are attached to what they've created and they think it's awesome, that's sometimes when there's a bit of backwards and forwards.
When you say budget to promote, do you mean marketing campaigning?
Yeah.
Ad
money to spend on getting your brand, your logo, your videos, your posts in front of others.
Do you sit down with clients to come up with ad spend? How much?
No, that's the next
would
part. That
recommend?
once we create the brand strategy and we understand this is our identity, this is who we are, this is the strategy on how we're going to move forward and what we're going to create, the marketing plan comes next, and then we have experts in other marketing segments, whether it's Google, ad spend on Google or social media like Facebook or LinkedIn. We bring them in, and they're the experts on where we should be spending and how much and all the rest, all the techniques. So we make sure we get the brand strategy right. That's our expertise. And as part of the brand agency, we have the other experts in to do their component to deliver on the brand strategy and the marketing plan and make sure it's all aligned. So we don't go, let's go spend 10 grand on something, ridiculous. It makes sense. We have templates, we have the right look and feel, we have the right words, everything is aligned. So wherever you see on a billboard, someone talking about it, everything has to be the same. Right? Whenever you go from one McDonald's to the other, the Big Mac is the same. It tastes the same on that side of the river, that side of the river, it doesn't matter. Right? And that consistency is paramount. So
You specifically mentioned capability and ability under problem.
Yeah. So you're going to think of what are you able to do. That doesn't mean that's what you want to be doing. So you may have all these skills, and some of those can be transferable skills. And then you want to think, okay, these are all the things we are able to do as an individual or as a team, and what are we capable of doing, physically doing? Like we may be able to do a certain creative process, but we don't have the tools, techniques, or the want or need, desire. So we're not capable of doing it, but we're able to do it if we needed to, right? So what are you able to do? What are you capable of doing? And then we also do a SWOT as well. So understanding what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses. So you want to double up on your strengths if you need to. Mitigate your weaknesses and find out, okay, if this is a weakness, what do we need to do to reduce it? What are the opportunities in the market that we could potentially start moving towards or investigating or researching? And what threats do we need to be thinking about to try and protect our business? So there could be economic changes, government changes. There's a number of businesses that will, for NDIS for example, where businesses are based on, okay, we help people that are on the NDIS program. That's the government giving people in need money for different services. Now, if that money dries up or they change how much money they're giving out, then your business, who relied on people that were on the NDIS program, who got money from the government, they're now no longer having that money. They're not going to buy your services. So you've got to be thinking what's happening. If it's a policy from the government, economic upturn, downturn, they're all the threats. So you've got to be thinking of all of these things. Don't just do it once, sit and forget. You go, well, where's the market going? What's happening with my environment? Who even predicted that we'd be stuck for 2 years in, well, at least in Melbourne anyway, behind closed doors doing work? But that brings out more businesses, more opportunities. So you've always got to have your eyes open 360 degrees, 24/7, what's happening.
Yeah, you mentioned that you collaborate alongside people that focus on, after the brand strategy component, ads, for example, the marketing part. Yeah. And you've listed partners, promoters, and players. Yeah,
so in P3 we talk about people. So who are the people that you want in your target market? Now, traditionally people say target market, you got to think of the demographics, psychographics of the people that you are going to buy your services. Decision makers. That's great, yes, and that's what I call that's one of the 3 P's in people. So payers, those are going to make a decision and pay for your services. You need to understand who they are, because you want to be promoting to them, right? And just on that one, you need to be not just promoting when they're ready to buy, which is only usually like 3% of people are ready to buy from you. Then you need to also make sure those that know they have a problem, they may or may not know about you. Those that think they have a problem, you've got to nurture those as well. So there's about 60-70% of the rest of the people you've got to be targeting as well, not just the 3% that are ready to buy. So one is your payers. The other 2 are your promoters, who will help promote you. So doing an interview, podcast, writing articles in magazines. Organisations that have your same or similar target market, that's a big reach that they already have, that you can get on their platform. Whether you're speaking on stage, you're writing something for them, it's a guest blog post, we're doing an interview, those are promoters. So you're also targeting promoters as well, podcasters, YouTube channels. Who are the people that you can align with, that can help you help their audience, and in turn you have access to a greater network as well of similar people. So that's number 2, it's your promoters. The third one is your partners. So who can you partner with to build a bigger and better brand, or bigger and better solution that will provide more of what the customer needs. So for us, okay, I don't really know about branding, so we provide a brand strategy and a marketing strategy and plan. And then, okay, so one of the things we'll be most likely saying is either you need a new website or you need to improve, make updates to your website, your content, your visual identity, etc., etc. Well, I have the people that we can partner together to do that. Now, you're not going to partner with any graphic designer or any web designer. You need to make sure that you know them, you trust them, you've done work together. So you've got to build those relationships. These are partners. So when you partner together, they promote you, you promote them. That's the promotion part, and you can work together so we can provide a bigger and better solution. So the customer doesn't need one thing, they will need others. And if they don't go to you, like, you know, we've had clients where they've had the brand strategy, done the brand strategy, and they've gone and used their people, and they've come back and said, oh, of course, can you check my website? It doesn't quite look right. Well, yeah, you're using the wrong people. They've not used the brand strategy properly, and it's a bit of a mess. Again, my project management background comes in. We design and brand project manage all the components so everything's done properly and succinctly and everything's aligned and it doesn't look like a big, you know, dog's breakfast. So yeah, you need to partner with people that can, even if you're referring, right, if you think of it, oh, I can't partner because that's too much of a risk, or we're involved, or there's business partnerships. Okay, if you don't want to do that, at least refer your customer to the person in the next step of the process. And that's got to be someone you trust as well through your the network that you have. So you need to know who's next as well, refer, or either work together to provide that bigger, better solution. So payers, promoters, partners, that's who your target market really is. That's who, because they're looking. Like, you want to get on someone's podcast, you want to write in someone's magazine, they're looking as well. So make sure you're promoting yourself and you position yourself so all those three groups can think that we can work together.
So as a brand strategist, you would help clients go identify who they can partner with, like graphic designers at certain stages.
The types of people, not specifically go with this company, because you need to develop that relationship, you need to do further investigation. But it's, so for example, web designers, a great referral link or partnership is with a graphic designer, a copywriter, videographer, and a photographer. Because one thing web designers will always say is, I'm always waiting for content from my clients, right? They're always late and it doesn't look the best and they made it up and they use a bit of whatever. So the content is late and not sufficient and not good enough. And you can, when you first see a website with stock images and stock videos, it looks amazing and like, oh, I love this, is great. You're seeing the structure with other people's content. So you need to make sure they have the content. So a web designer that has content providers, right? I need words, I need a visual identity, I need photos, videos. I have people that can create that for you. Yes, it's going to cost 1, 2, 5, 10, 20 grand, whatever it's going to be, however it's going to be. But then your content on the website is going to be amazing. So that's one great connection. And then after that, how do I promote my website so I can get some traffic? So on the other end. So one, before what the website developer needs to create their website properly, and then how do we get more people coming to you as well? So they're the partnerships that a web designer will have. An accountant, bookkeeper is the obvious one. Insurance, superannuation, right? There's a number of other ones. Like who else is my client going to go to? What are the other services they're going to need? So think about who you can partner with and who you can cross promote. So, you know, insurance, hey, you need an accountant, go to the accountant. You want to help each other as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You mentioned you have to understand the platforms, like how leads are generated. So there's no point going on Instagram if your, audience is on LinkedIn.
Yeah, so that's understanding your audience. So where are they? What do they read? Who do they listen to? Where do they spend their time? What things are they interested in? So if you are targeting business owners, professionals, corporate professionals, you're most likely going to be on LinkedIn. You're not going to be on TikTok because you want to target CEOs, right? CEOs generally won't have time to spend an hour or half an hour a day on TikTok and looking at all sorts of different things, right? They'll predominantly be on LinkedIn because that's the business platform, right? For business professionals running your own business or you're working for someone else. The demographic on TikTok is a lot younger than Instagram or even Facebook, right? And it's not as professional as it is on LinkedIn. That doesn't mean you should not be on other platforms, but you pick the one that my people are on this one, right? Skateboards or if we're talking for a 15 to 25-year-old, you go to TikTok, right? But you've got to create the content for that type of audience, their age and what they're expecting to see or read or just even look at for that platform as well. You can use that content on other platforms, but you may have to make some slight changes as well to make sure that content is suited for the other platforms. Like I know James Tuckerman, for example, a great friend of mine, and his content, he gets a lot more content on TikTok than he does for his videos and he does on Instagram, but he puts them on all, and on LinkedIn as well. You need to be on all the platforms that your target market's on. If you're not sure, pick the one and just dominate that one first. Spend a year on that one. Don't think you're losing out, because when you spend time on others, bits and pieces, and you're not focusing on one, you're not even making any use of the one that's the most important. So just spend 1 year on one, learn all about that one, master that one. Then if you feel it's necessary and you're not getting enough leads or traction, you then see what else are they listening to. Ask them. Ask your top 20 clients, what platforms are you on? What do you when you go on social media, what are you on? LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, MySpace. That's an old one. I think it may still be around, right? You ask them. If you're not sure, ask the people that are your clients or that are potentially your clients, right? Your target market. That way you know, oh look, 20% on TikTok, 90% on LinkedIn. I think I better go on LinkedIn, right?
Apart from these big major ones, what other channels would you recommend for businesses to promote their brands?
Okay, so the channels to recommend are the ones where your target market is on. So you have your X, formerly known as Twitter. You got TikTok, MySpace, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Pinterest is another one that sometimes people forget. Very visual, whether it's photography, whether it's infographics. Oh, when I first saw Pinterest come out with infographics, I was just like, save, 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 save. It was nuts. It's great information, right? Designers, fashion designers, image stylists, fantastic to get inspiration. So you've got to pick don't be afraid of picking a platform that you don't really know much about, but your target market is on. Because if your audience, it's all about eyeballs, right? Attention. You need to get the attention of your target market. If they're on Pinterest, you now need to learn how to use Pinterest. I've never used it before. Open it, create an account, Google how do I use Pinterest for my business as a designer. There'll be a ton of videos, right? There's a lot of information that you can get really quickly on how to, basic stuff, right? How to do this basic, not technical stuff, but basic stuff. Find one platform, learn it, and just look. Before you go post, look, observe. Walk into a room, observe. What are people saying? How are they saying it? Who's saying it? Who are the big players? Understand the environment before you start going, blah, 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 blah. Okay, because you're not sure how the platform is working or interacting, right? For example, you see people go on LinkedIn and they put their personal stuff, oh, with my babies and my food and my outings. Like, no one cares. This is a business platform. You talk about business events you've been to, things you've learned, all around business, not about personal stuff. Facebook, Instagram, what you had for breakfast, where you're going out for lunch, the restaurant you went to, sure, no problem, because it's more personal, right? So pick the platform that your target market is on, pick one, dominate it, learn it by observing it first, finding out, doing some research, and then start putting some content, test and measure, see what works, refine it.
How do you help clients differentiate, their brand from competitors?
So you need to understand who you are, what you're doing. So you go through the 7 branding principles to find out your essence, your identity. Once you've worked out your identity, you need to see, well, what is similar out there? Like, for example, if you're a coach of some sort, let's say a personal trainer, and so, well, there's a lot of personal trainers, and they're online and offline. Like, what is everyone else doing? So your personal trainer near me, you Google that, out comes 50, 20 different options. So you want to have a look at what everyone else is doing and how they're positioning themselves. Because if you end up creating a brand that looks very similar to someone else's brand, then there won't be much differentiation. And the key thing about differentiating others to you isn't, oh, well, we've got a different logo or we use different colors. Some of these elements are going to be important, but what's more important is you, the person. You getting out in front. And I know for most business owners, they're introverts, right? Like myself, I'm an introvert or a situational extrovert. You are when the situation arises, like an interview, you're the extrovert. But otherwise, behind the scenes, thanks very much, that's what I want to be. So because a lot of business owners are introverts, then they're not willing or wanting as much to be in front of the camera. Right? I just put the camera up and talk about whatever. Oh no, it won't look good, it will sound crap, the technology's there, all 101 reasons / excuses why it doesn't get done. So You need to bring your personality out. That's what people are going to connect with. I love this personal trainer. Why? Because of the techniques they're using, maybe. Because of the whatever they're promoting, maybe. But I get along with this person, right? I had personal trainers that I loved, and others are like, oh no, this is a joke, right? Because it's your style. My style of training was military style, hard, fast, yelling, angry, right? And that's why I get the most out of it. When others were like, come on, you got one more to go. I'm like, oh, fuck at this for a joke. I'm not motivated. So you've got to be careful. And I spend more time with those people that you resonate with. So how do they know if it's just words created by ChatGPT and images created by DALL-E, another AI thing, and it's all looking generic. If it looks generic, you don't differentiate. It's bring your personality out. That will you're going to connect with some people, and you're not going to connect with others. And that's fine, because you can't help everyone. You don't have the abilities and the capabilities and the structure and the infrastructure to help everyone. You want to help a certain number of people to make sure you have a sustainable business and it's profitable and you're providing an impact, right?
How do you ensure consistency in your brand messaging across different platforms?
Consistency comes from understanding who you are and having boundaries and having a template or templates for how we post in terms of videos, in terms of your brand voice, in terms of your visual identity, where logos go, what colors we use, how we use them, that combination. Once that template is in, or the templates are in place, you don't think, oh, how do I create this this how-to video, or how do I create this how-to post? We use the how-to templates. It's already there. It looks the same, it feels the same, it sounds the same, right? Again, McDonald's, you go get a Big Mac today, tomorrow, next year, it's going to be, it has to taste the same, it has to be presented the same, right? The words we say, all the interactions are the same. So you need to have your method of how you're going to do this. So the creation is about, oh, what are the 10 things to do this? You come up with that, and then you put this in your existing template. So when you're, when you're with friends and they're, I know about Bob, and Bob's dependable. I know what he's going to drink, and I know what he wants to eat. Why? Because it's consistent. I know. If it's all over the place, I don't know what we're doing. When you're driving on the freeway and all the cars are going the same direction, if you see one car in front of you starting to swerve left and right, what's going on here? I'm going to have to give this guy a bit of space here. God, I don't know. This person, got to give this person some space, because I'm not sure what's really going on here. And we've had that happen. I've had with a friend of mine, we're driving, like, what's going on here? When we drove past the car, the couple in the other car were arguing at each other, and they were swerving over. So if you're not sure what someone's doing, you've got to give them some space. Uncertainty doesn't lead people to, you won't have confidence. People don't buy if they're not sure. It's like, I think I better leave this alone. Other cars are doing the right thing, they're going the right way, there's no backs and forwards. So consistency means you're predictable, and predictable is a good thing, because the audience knows what they're getting, what it's going to sound like, what it's going to look like. Imagine getting another bottle of cologne or perfume and go, this doesn't smell like the other one, same packaging, but it smells different. That's a problem, yeah? So consistency is key. Develop how we say, what words we use, what words we don't use, with the tone of our voice. As part of a brand voice, it needs to be detailed, so that not just you, other people that are creating your content, they know the guidelines. If there's no guidelines, there's no framework to create it, then you're going to get whatever people think is the right thing. So guidelines, processes, methods, templates, this is what has to be in place first, so that your content looks and feels and sounds the same to the audience, right? Consistency is important, and that's how you create it.
Do you apply your 7 principles to a product as well as a service? So if businesses come to you and they're a conveyancer, then they're offering service. But sometimes brands come to you selling something, like the next big personal fragrance. How do you, can you let the audience know what are the steps when you're promoting a product instead of a service?
Whether it's a personal brand, a business brand, or a product brand, it could be a service brand as well, they all need to have a personality. They need to be unique, and you always got to think of, how do I create a personal brand? And that's how you make it unique, around the cologne. The cologne, the look and feel, the smell, even whether it's a black and white shoot or it's a colored shoot, the type of person that promotes it, the brand ambassadors, the way, everything that you do around that product needs to have a personal brand. It needs to be distinctive from the others. How does one bakery distinguish themselves from others? You need to have your signature products. Oh, I go to this place for the Parmigiano, or I go to this place for this lobster. right? You got to have your signature dish or your signature product or service that people go, this is amazing, right? Big Mac. Everyone knows the Big Mac. You may not know they've got quarter pounder, cheeseburger, fillet of fish, and whatever other burgers they come up with, and sometimes it's seasonal, whatever. But there's a Big Mac, right? They had the Big Mac. That's what you know McDonald's for, the Big Mac. Not for there's many other things. Oops. All right. You want to cut that and do it again?
Yeah. The cameras will roll from that one, but I will have to pick that up. Probably need a heavier, bit of wind. Yeah. Probably need one of these heavier
backpack.
Bags. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll just chill for a bit.
Yes.
Yeah, because that. Continue? Yeah. Oh, because we've got that to cover two of us.
Okay, so what were we talking about? I don't know.
We were up to fragrance and.
Okay. So I'll start that bit again.
Yep.
So let's say you've got, when you give example, when you're creating a brand for a product, you've got to think of its personal value, right? Because who's buying the product? A person. So the person needs to connect with the product. Harder to connect with the product than it is to connect with the person. I can see you, I can hear you, I can, I can sense you as well. I can see body language. How are you going to get that from a product? So you go create an essence around this product about how if it's cologne, for example, what it smells like, what you'll get out of it, what will make you do, right? It'll make you feel beautiful, sexy, powerful, confident. Who's promoting it? Oh, I've got Brad Pitt promoting this one, right? What's the imagery around it? What's the videography around the visual image around the way it's promoted, where it's promoted, with what other brands it's promoted with, right? Like, for example, you look at Rolex, which is they manufacture watches, right? That's what they manufacture, but they're selling status. Wear a Rolex. Oh, I wear a Rolex, I can tell the time. You can wear an Apple watch, you can wear a $5, $2 watch, whatever it is, right, to tell the time. You can ask someone else. You look at the iPhone and tell the time. You don't wear a Rolex for that to tell the time. It's a status symbol, right? You can afford a Rolex, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, whichever one you get, right? You're buying that status. That's position, right? So they don't promote Rolex in football or grassroots, sports. Where are they promoting Rolex? High end.
Golfing.
Golf. They'll be. They're in Formula One. They're in the other high-end racing categories as well, right? So the company, so that relates to that precision, that level of excellence, right? You've got to have your products as a brand, have a personal brand around that product that relates to and be promoted with where your audience is, right? Learjets, so jets, we're talking Rolls Royce, that's the level. They're not playing at the bottom level or the middle level. So you create more of a personality around your products and services than, well, features and benefits. Okay, that can be copied. A personality is a lot harder to copy. So, yeah, you need to think about how we make this stand out from every other one. The cologne, or whether it's watches, or whether it's a new baker that's open. Like, we want to be known for this. A friend was telling me about a pie manufacturer, right? Oh, you've got to go to farms. My pie guy is amazing. They've won this Australian award for their tandoori chicken. I'm like, okay. All I knew was that they won an award, their tandoori chicken is good. All the other stuff is good, but that stood out. When I went there, I'm like, I heard you won an award, and they've got the award there. So I could see when I was going, like, this is the pie guy, that's the award. I have one of your award-winning tandoori chickens. What else you got? The others are great as well. And the other thing is that when you think of, if you think of the halo and horn effect, if one thing is good, like, oh, your tandoori chicken pie is great, it's got an award, then the others must be good too. You can't have one amazing award-winning pie and the others to be rubbish, right? So that leads me to believe if one's good, it smells good, looks good, gets promoted, a lot of positive around it, then the other things would be good too. I haven't seen them, I haven't tasted them, I don't know what they're like, I've got no user feedback, but I bought a few more of the other pies as well. They were delicious, by the way, they were great, but it's, that's the halo effect. The horn effect is when it goes the other way. Doesn't quite sound right, I don't know, maybe the other things about that person or that brand isn't so good either. So we make assumptions whether it's a positive or it's a negative.
Yeah, like a product of a line, a brand, if customers can resonate with, trust then is established. And then they're more willing to try.
Look, take the iPhone for example. Why are there people lining outside Apple stores the night before, sleeping in their sleeping bags and on chairs, waiting for the release of the new iPhone to come to that store, when we know that tomorrow Next week, next month, that same phone is available there as well. Why are we lining up? It's the new one. It's got its own, you know, if people talk about smartphones. Oh, you've got an iPhone? Just take out your iPhone and do this. Well, take out your smartphone because you may have an iPhone or you may have an Android. And with the Android, you might be a BlackBerry, it may be a Google, maybe a Opto, whatever, right? There's so many of those. But when you think of a smartphone, you think of an iPhone. That's usually the most popular one, at least in Australia anyway. That's one of the most popular ones. You think an iPad, a tablet, you think iPad. You think, oh, my Galaxy Pad, my this pad. Everyone has different ones, but you know, you got your Mac, you got your iPhone, you got your iPad, you got your iPod. These are things that have been talked about and have created their own personal brand. They have their own brand around them, right? Your Apple Watch. There's so many different accessories. Like, well, if the iPhone is that good, maybe the Apple Watch is as good as well. Okay, that's the halo effect, right?
It's great. It's great.
Yeah, because when you hear people like Denzel Washington and Morgan Freeman talk, you're like, oh, and it's deeper voice and it's slower. You're like, oh, that makes sense. That's wisdom.
They're top actors that have often coached themselves to deliver lines with emotions. Yeah. So it's not just about let's get the content out, right? They're like talking with charisma. You know, they're like it's practice. It's almost like speech making.
Look, they're actors. They're professional actors. This is their this is the craft, the part of the craft of their profession.
Yeah.
They've got to deliver lines in a certain way. They have to have impact. And so you go for an audition, that's one shoot, right? It's a one take shoot. If your audition is shit, thanks, next.
Yeah.
You know, one's out, the other one's in. We're going to find one, right?
Yeah.
And you need to, and you've got to, it has to flow so easily that it's like, what do you want me to read? And this is the character. Okay, I'm in character, I'm in mode, and he comes out. You don't think about, oh, did that sound good? No, you got to be confident in how you're delivering it and get it done. The thing is, right, you should have a budget. If it's not a budget of money, it needs to be a budget of time. Because you can't say, oh, I want to do this. Well, if you're not going to do it, someone else is going to do it, they're going to want money. You're going to use their time, but you're going to have to give them money to make that happen. So you can get VAs overseas, you can give them some guidance and say, guys, create me articles on this, put it on my website. You're going to pay them 15, 20 bucks an hour. That's fine. You're going to need a budget for that as well. Maybe 20, 30 bucks to get you started, 20, 30 hours times 15, 20 bucks. You need a monetary budget to pay someone else to do that. Whether you guide them and they do it, or whether you pay a professional, you know, 100 bucks an hour every few hours, but you still have a monetary expense, right? That's an investment in your business. Or the other way is that you're going to have to learn how to do it, which means it's an investment of your time. So it's, oh yeah, I'll get it done. When are you going to get it done? I want to open up your diary, stick the 1 hour in there where you're going to do research, half an hour research, half an hour write an article. That's enough. Oh, but it's not an expert. Well, we're not writing a PhD. We're not trying to, you know, do brain surgery in a different way. It's, here's my content. I've done my research. I've used ChatGPT or whatever, Claude, to do the copywriting. It's condensed. It sounds like me, because you tell whatever AI, here's my brand voice. This is who I am. This is what I do. So you want it to write like you as much as you can. Here's your content. Put it on your website. Make sure your backlinks. Make sure you've got your keywords in there as well. Like there's a guy I follow on Instagram, his name's Matt. He's got an agency called Hey Tony, he's in Canada, SEO agency. Every single video that he posts out there, he shows you, I use this tool and these are the steps I use to build the SEO, to get my SEO up for my clients. This is how we get our clients ranking. This is how you look at your competitors. You could do all of that. Look at his videos, make a list of the 10 things he does and go and do it. That's going to take you time to do that. Right? So you need to have a budget of time and or money, one or the other, or both, to be able to get it done. You can do your own SEO. You can create your own website. It's going to take you a lot of time to learn how to do it and then do it and do it consistently. Right? You need to be focusing on what generates the money, not the other stuff that's around it. So have a budget to get some people to go off and do it for you with some guidance. So learn about, okay, make sure we have this, this, and this. Now you go do the hack work. Right? I call it the hack work, right? You know, production line work. Right? So if you're not doing production line work, someone else has to do it, and on a consistent basis. Right?
What role does innovation play in maintaining your brand's relevance in a saturated market?
So innovation, you need to look at, so mortgage broking is saturated, right? Insurance, coaching, anything that can be perceived as, oh, well, you can do a weekend course or a short course, do it online, and then I'm an expert or I'm a coach or I'm a so-and-so provider, and there's no unlike a doctor where you need to do, or a lawyer, you need to do the exams, you need to do, need to be qualified. There's a governing body that makes sure that you are registered as this professional, and we keep you up to date, and accountants as well. There's certain professions that need to have not just the degree, their formal education, but their qualifications or their registration into an organisation, and also you've got to keep up to date as well, right? So if it's not one of those, it's easier to obtain, right? So those ones you need to look out for, because you need to make sure that the person has got enough credentials and enough other elements, good testimonials, work with different people, before and after case studies. There's so many different ways to build proof around that person's ability. Yeah? So it's really important to build other credentials beyond, when you're saturated, well, what else are my people looking for? Who else have I partnered with? Collaborations are very important as well, because you're leaning on other people's brands and vice versa. Again, personality. People are going to do business. People do business with people. You need to stand out and in a way that connects with other people. So show up at networking events, on stage, on blogs, on websites, and promote it in a grateful way, in a gratitude kind of way, not like, hey, aren't I amazing and awesome? You need to make sure you're getting out there and you're doing your own spruiking, your own PR, because there are a lot of coaches, consultants, and other business owners. So you've got to find those niche points. How am I different to everyone else in a way that matters to my target audience? You can be different, but if people don't care about that difference, it's a waste of time. So what do people need, and where is the market going, and what are they going to need next? So we can help you with this problem and the next 3 problems. That's where partners come into as well, or at least referral partners, knowing that we can solve this problem and the next problem you have. Even thinking about the problems before they have that problem. Before you need me, you're going to have to solve this problem, or this might be an issue. So you've got to start really thinking outside the box, what are others doing, and also look at other industries. Don't just look at your own industry and say, what is the personal coaching, personal trainer industry doing? What's the mining industry doing? What are other industries doing? What are they doing outside of what we do, and what can I use from their knowledge and their way of doing something different that I can bring into mine? Right? Because if you're looking at who is in the leaders of your industry, and you start, okay, I'm going to start doing what some of they're doing, you're not leading, you're following. When you start looking at what leaders have been doing in other industries, in other countries, in other cultures, and you start bringing those and amalgamating, now you're a leader. Now you're creating something different. Now you're ahead of the game, not trying to catch up.
Now, in a declining market relevance, what is your strategy for assisting clients in rebranding or brand revitalization? Like in case,
Okay, so declining market, or declining is if you're finding that your relevance isn't there because your customers are going somewhere else, they want new and better things, they're looking at maybe new technologies or new processes, well, then you need to look at how relevant what you currently have is going to be, not just now but in the future. So when Kodak, who had a great run as film for decades upon decades, they were fantastic film manufacturers. Everyone knew Kodak, everyone knew Fuji. They also invented the digital camera, but they didn't really pursue it because they thought, well, everyone's going to want film. Obviously, that's not what's happened. There's many examples of that in history as well, where they've got this massive technology and they did not see what was coming in the future, to adapt, to change, right? And to modify what they're doing. So now, if you're using film, like actual gelatin film in a camera, that's bespoke, that's artisan, that's, you give it to kids these days and like, what is this? This for the museum, right? It's not known. But a digital camera, it's on everyone's tablet, smartphone, so many different devices. So you need to be thinking, that's where a SWOT comes into it, right? So opportunities and threats. What opportunities for the future? What threats are coming? You need to be thinking what is relevant to the target market now and in the future. And if they're not getting what they want from you, they're going to get it from someone else or a combination of other people as well. So always be thinking and asking the question, what's next for you? What's coming up next? How do you see your business going? So you need the customer survey, right? You need some customer feedback. If you have customers that are coming in, ask them, hey guys, I'm curious, where do you see this going? What's next? What's beyond the microwave? What's beyond the car with the 4 wheels? Oh, look, we have electric cars. We have hybrid cars. Now we have flying cars. Right? What's next? You're going to be Uber drivers, like a truck driver or a delivery driver. Those are going to be replaced by electrical hybrid vehicles, AI powered. You're not going to need them, right? So the low-end jobs are going to go. So you've got to think of, where is my job? Am I doing low-end jobs? Well, they're going to go. They're the first ones going to go with either with virtual assistants overseas, with AI automation. You got to think high-end, white collar, not blue collar, right? Even robots will eventually come in and start building houses. Even there's houses now where you can build from a what looks like a sausage machine, right? It comes like a toothpaste. They build a house, pre-manufactured, out comes a crane, and it comes layer upon layer. It's like a 3D model. Instead of a 3D model in a little box, it's a 3D model on a piece of land, and there's your house, right? And some people come in, will finish off one or two things. But bricklayers, thanks for coming, we don't need you anymore, because we have a machine, just plug and play.
Yeah. People nowadays want fast. You know, they want to churn out the end result as fast as they can. Would you say the quality is gone?
Yeah.
Because
you want
we're
to
so
be
focused
quick.
on speed.
Yeah, you want to be quick, you want to be efficient, but it also needs to resonate with people. You can create quick stuff on AI. Write me 10 blogs on this topic. Bang, here's 10 blogs. It's all generic. It's not going to resonate. It's not going to really rank really well as well. If you want to know what questions people have, there's a couple of different ways. Use something like Answer the Public, and you put in your search term like brand strategy or personal training or losing weight. And it comes up with a list of questions people are asking and their ranking in which they're relevant. So you can use that tool, right? That's through Neil Patel. You also go to Google, right? Type in the question and see go past the sponsored post and the organic post and look at the questions people ask. There's a section called questions people ask. And you look at come up usually like 5 or 10 questions. And you click on the down arrow and then you click back up and then more questions appear. And do it again and again and again and again. There's your 20, 30 questions that people ask around this topic, right? So there are tools and ways to get questions people ask. That's what you write your blog posts on. That's what you shoot your videos on. That's what you create your social media posts on. This is what people want. Google is telling you this is what people are asking for. So you give them that information. So that's how you connect. You want fast? They're the questions you ask, specific questions you ask to write a 500-word blog article. You give it to your VA. We have VAs overseas in Indonesia. They're like $15 an hour. You tell them what to do. They're, again, templates, process, so they're not thinking outside the box. They've got to just do the work, hack the work, and then they create it for you, right? Done. But you've done the thought leadership part. You've worked out what are the questions, and that gives you talking points as well. Oh, I need to talk about this in an interview or a presentation or my next speech. What am I going to talk about? What are the common questions people are asking? Use these tools to work it out.
So when clients come to you first, when they reach out, you'd first want to see which areas they need help in, yeah? You'd ask these relevant questions.
I want to know what they think they need help in, yeah? Yeah, that's one thing, but I also want to know about them. What are they trying to achieve, their goal? Always start with the end in mind. So you've got this business, into whatever, let's understand the business, where you come from, where are you now, where do you want to go? It's the objective, where's the end goal? Well, you know what, where do you want to be in 5 years? Well, in 5 years from now, on this date, in whatever that 5 years, this is where I want to be. Your lifestyle, your business structure, the number of people, the revenue, that's what we're aiming for. So whenever you build a brand strategy or you do any marketing, it's to achieve that future goal. Not just, oh, we want to get more customers. Why? Because everything runs on KPIs. Everything runs on you want to measure to see if we're reaching a target. So what's our target? In 5 years, this is what our life needs to look like personally. Because personally, when you talk about your personal life, not just your business life, it means it impacts you as a person. This impacts the entity you can potentially sell, you're making money from, or get investors or whatever. So you need to make sure you know where you're going, detail the outcome, and then we build towards that outcome. So you can test and measure towards how are we going towards reaching our goal, not just, oh, we just want to be making double the income this year, double the revenue. Yet why? How are we going to do that? What's this going to lead to? Because it could lead to more problems than anything else. Right? You can always get capped to a certain point and you haven't thought about we have to increase our staff or increase the type of people or outsource some of the gear, right? So always start with the end in mind. So yes, we talk about what issues they may have, because it's usually what they think they have, and there's a lot more that underlie it, right? They're seeing the cause of the problem. We need to get to the root cause, right? And then understanding this and knowing where you're going, well, then we can build a plan on how to get there. So it's always steps. You want to lose weight? There's steps. Oh, you want to lose weight? Why? Because I'm getting married in a year's time, or I want to enter a competition, or I want to do a marathon without falling apart, or whatever the reason is. When is that happening? This is why I want to do it. This is when I want to be able to have this ability to do this, to reach this goal. So you work backwards. Okay, let's change your diet. Let's make some adjustments. Let's do some this and X, and that's going to change as you go along as well. So plans are in place when you know the outcome. No outcome, any result will do.
Would you say that there's a difference with branding as opposed to marketing? Because they're so similar.
Yeah. They go hand in hand, right? Because the branding is the thinking behind how your brand is going to look and feel like, and who we're going to connect with, and how we're going to connect with. The marketing is the actions to drive sales. The actions in terms of promotion, advertising, editorials. There's many different things to be able to market your business. Affiliations, influencer marketing, to generate interest, for people to take action. Right? There's one thing about you could do brand awareness. Oh, people are aware of your brand. That's nice. That doesn't put money in your bank. When people click on a link to buy a service, to connect with you, to set up a meeting, to go into your newsletter, these are steps necessary for the marketing to take your potential clients on a journey to making sales. Your job is to make sales. A company's main objective is to be profitable. If you're not profitable, you're not for profit. So most businesses are for profit. You need to make profit. Profit means you need to making sales. You need revenue. You need to have a business model that when you make the revenue, that you're keeping, money after, or you've paid everything and everyone, and you've got money left over. That's your profit, right? So you need to make sure that marketing is about driving sales, driving people to you. Your branding is about understanding that I'm the right person to come to. I'm the one who can solve these problems. So the two need to go. If you don't have a strong brand strategy, you just market your business. Why should I come to you? Just because you spend 10 grand on Google Ads, it'll be of little consequence, right?
How do you approach brand crisis management and recovery?
See, crisis is that's when you're running the business. Now, this is something we don't get involved in. It's not part of the brand strategy. It's about setting it up, right? But you need to want to prevent as much of that as possible, okay? And if you do have a situation, you need to address it as quickly as you can. Be upfront and forthright as much as you can. You can't sort of. There's an example, a political example I've got in terms of when people are not responding or not interacting. You've got to have interaction, right? Like now we've got the American politics, American election coming up in November, and you know what? Kamala Harris, she's the nomination for the Democratic National Party, and she hasn't had an interview or live interview unscripted for 35 days. That's the stat that's going around in the moment. Like this becomes a problem. So address your situation, right? And sometimes if you've got a good enough brand, you'll have people advocating for you as well and coming to your defense as well. So you need to build that brand loyalty. So it's about prevention more than, okay, now that there's a problem, what do I do? So prevent it by having a good brand, living to your values. There'll be some people that won't agree with you or take things out of proportion, or you think like it just didn't work out because of whatever reason, right? Address it, help them as much as you can, and don't let it bog you down and distract you from the good that you're doing. Like you'll put posts out and then you'll get 100 comments, and there'll be a couple of people that are just ripping into you for whatever reason. And I don't care your issues that you have, people. If you're going to get onto social media, angry, couch potato text, right? Don't take that personally, because it's their issues that they're talking about, and you're doing good. Focus on the 99.9% of people you're actually helping and happy, not the 0.1% or the 1% of people that are like crapping on about whatever. If you focus on that and not on the good that you're doing, you get distracted, and it takes you away from all of the positive as well, right?
Yeah.
So they say bad news travels fast, right? Good news travels very slow. Bad news travels very fast. Did you know? Did you hear? It's all drama, okay? If you focus on that, that's what the focus and intention is going to be. Deal with it and move on.
Yeah. Like you've got to be able to take just the constructive parts of it.
If there is constructive, you take that and you put it back into your process. You use it as feedback, right?
And ignore the personal accusations, the attacks. Where people are just too fired up, too much emotions. At the end of the day, it's not brain surgery. It's a business. Not everything's going to be perfect.
nothing is ever perfect. Human beings are not perfect, so how can we possibly have a perfect anything else, right? There'll always be tweaks. There'll be things that of improvement. That's why whenever you buy anything online, people ask for feedback. You use our service. Can you do a survey? That feedback helps people improve if they listen to it, right? So don't focus on it too much. Deal with it and move on. Focus on the people that you're actually helping. Your business is not there to address negative comments or people that have gone off the rails or the crack the shits or whatever. No, your business is there to provide that positive outcome. Keep focusing on that. That will drown out any negative comments.
I want to thank you for sharing with me everything that's come your way when you're researching. The little videos that you sent me about, you know, all sorts of topics like how to speak in front of the camera, Instagram tips, YouTube tips, Canva tips. So you're very well researched. So when you sent me a diagram, I just wasn't surprised with all these keywords. I was like, wow, how long did it take you to come up with all these
Oh, that was
elements?
years in development. Yeah, that's years in development. Because the diagram, I sent you the brand identity model, right? Also, there's the brand mastery roadmap. Right, on the 3 components. You've got to clarify your brand, then you've got to construct your brand assets, and you've got to command your brand essence. So what are the next layers beyond that, and who else is involved? We have a 5-step process to build our brand. So it has, it's called BRAND, right? So there's a 5-step process. We go through it with our clients on what their requirement is, what our requirement is. We talk about the marketing domination framework. So where are the 5 different places? So like, where can you promote your business? So realize there's only 5, right? So either go website and landing pages, social media, other online presence. You've got promotional marketing when you go out and flyers, you've got expos, you've got books, your physical material business cards, and then you've got traditional and digital media. Everything fits in those 5. So you've got to be thinking where of those 5, starting with your website. Everyone needs a website. I don't care how, whatever you're saying, you need a website. Because a website gives you so much more content that you can put on at the way you want to put it on than any social media or any other website will help you do. It's your way, it's like your shop. You can dress your shop how you like, change it every 5 minutes, do whatever you want. It's the one that'll give you the most power to promote yourself and influence your target market. It's the one that people have to come to, whereas traditional and digital media, they already have a massive audience. And you've got to be careful of what you put in there, because sometimes they will cut it ways that may not be 100%, if it's controversial or media or if there's issues, whatever. But you want to make sure everything you do in terms of marketing is in one of those. So when you build frameworks and models and systems, I don't have to think about it. You think about it once, you create it, now we just deliver, right? Yeah, so that's another way on our website, those 4 models are on there right now. These are the models we use. It's on the home page, right? This is what we use. There's another way to differentiate yourself from others. We created these models. Work out what you want to do. You don't have to do a graphic design thing at the beginning. Just what are our steps? What are we going to call them? Put a bit of description. Hey, graphic designer, this is our business. This is our industry. Make me a model that depicts this process. Done.
I want people to understand that brand strategy is just so important. And based on everything you've given, there's so much things to be reading up on. And to understand that before you start your business, really reach out to those that can help you from the get-go.
Yeah.
So you're not going down the wrong direction.
That's right. It's like foundations, right? If you start driving, when you use Google Maps, so Google Maps, give me a direction to this destination, end goal, right? Where do you want to be in 5 years? And he goes, all right, well, here are the 2 or 3 paths I've got. Pick one. You go, I'll take the one with the freeway faster. No, I'm not going to pay the tollway. I'll go that way. And it tells you, the next roundabout, turn left. Do this, do that. It gives you steps, right? So if you don't, and where are you starting from? And you've got to tell it. Are we driving? Are we walking? Are we taking a bike? You can have your options. Well, it's different if you're taking a bike, different if you're walking, different if you're taking a car, right? So you need to know your foundations. I'm in a car, and that's my destination. And someone else worked out their map or your plan, and then off you go, right? So and then you may change your direction. You go, actually, I need to go to the toilet, so I want to shop at McDonald's. Oh, I'm hungry, I'm going to go to the thing. Yeah, so you make your little detours, and then it recorrects, right? But you need to know, now where do I go? Because I went 1 kilometre this way to the pie shop. Now how do I get back onto track? Right, you need people to help you along your way, like you help others in what your specialty is all about. And they should be calling you and getting your advice, the same as you should get other people's advice in the areas where you are not supposed to be working on. If you're an accountant, you're not supposed to be working on brand strategy and how to create my Canva post and what sort of video I'm going to create and what sort of f-stop I'm going to use on my camera. No, you get other people to do that while you focus on being a great accountant or the great coach or the great whatever it is. You know, be really good at the thing you do and get others to help you promote that.
So Costa can be found on LinkedIn, Instagram,
Yep.
and CostaBrands.com.
Iconicbrands.com.
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 I'm rebranding you.
You're rebranding. You're just changing the name. Who needs to know the names? Yeah.
Anything else?
They're the three, right? So
The major ones.
3 is LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and you've got your website as well. Right?
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. You're welcome.